on your feet! This is Service Headline News. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Good evening, gentlemen.
And our man in the closet, Jake Wall.
What's going on, guys?
And we're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all servicemen and women. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as the Swearing In Podcast presents Service Headline News.
Woo! I was fun.
One of these days, I'm going to get it. I got to invest in one of those mixers, so I can play the music at the same time instead of doing this all post-production.
I like the new music, too, by the way. I like the new music.
I've had that music out there for several months.
I know. I still like it. I'm just telling you I like it. I like it.
Good. Yeah, it's a Patreon page that the guy throws out there, and he's like, you can use one song per podcast. So if you have another channel, you got to pay another $5 that he charges. But you can choose any of his music. It's really cool. It's really cool. It's a lot cheaper than buying some rights that I've tried to find on the internet. You know, a lot of people provide it, but they charge a lot of money, right? They charge a lot of money, but good.
Cool.
There was a documentary. So I was like, hey, maybe I should do my due diligence and start watching every military documentary I can find, right? I found one on Amazon. I know there's a bunch.
Oh my God.
Well, but I mean, you know, some of them are good, some of them are not so good.
Sure.
You know, I remember when Restrepo came up, right? And everybody was like, "Oh, fuck Restrepo." And Restrepo was pretty good.
I liked it.
I liked that one.
Well, right? Because I think that was the first time we really saw kind of the war in Afghanistan. You know,
At the ground level, right
at
there.
the ground level.
Yeah.
With actual footage and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this one was, I think it was, I forgot the year. But it was, I think it was around 2003. And there was this whole Apache company that went over there I think it was when they first went into Iraq. And they were supposed to conduct this kind of movement to contact. They were supporting the attack up through Iraq, and they were going to engage some armored battalions that were supposed to be north of Iraq, but they had moved south. And they have the film from and all the radio calls, right, from like 3 different Apaches, and one to give you an example. Now, they were supposed to conduct this operation. They got so shot up, they were like turning around. They're like, we're turning around. We're going home. But as they were flying, and they also did a good job of showing how their corridor that they were planning on having this big, large corridor to maneuver around in. Well, they had to shut down like the east side because the Air Force was using it. And then they had to shut down like their west side because some other aviation unit was, and all of a sudden it just narrowed. And they showed that really cool on the map. And they're like, well, we were planning on going way out here, but now we can't. Now we have to fly over all these little cities. And they showed one time when they were coming up on one city, and you could see all the lights. And everywhere they were flying, there were just this occasional pop, you know, people were just randomly shooting at them. But they were flying up on the city, all the lights went out.
Ooh.
And they're like, holy shit, they showed that on the film. And then all the lights came back on. And they're like, what is going on? And as soon as all the lights came back on, you could see all the tracer rounds start shooting at them. So it was some kind of internal signal that the
Iraqis a coordinated,
yeah. They're like, as soon as we turn the lights off and we turn it back on, just start shooting up in the air. And it was crazy. Great documentary. It's called Apache Warrior.
I'm going to have to check that one out.
And it was from 2017. I was all jazzed. I found it. I was like, oh, this is 6 years old.
One more time with the name?
Apache Warrior.
Apache Warrior.
And it was on Amazon Prime. And it's free. So it's, it's very annoying. It's free, but it's like free with commercials.
Oh, yeah.
And the commercials aren't timed. You know, so you're in the middle of this intense firefight with the radio calls, and all of a sudden some stupid commercial.
Beer commercial.
Yeah, it wasn't even
I
entertaining.
wonder if there's somebody's job there. Hey, watch this and show us where would be the most exciting point to put a commercial.
Well, if they did, they should fire that guy because it was in mid-sentence the commercial starts. And you're like, motherfucker. This is annoying as shit. So
Nice.
it was, I don't know, it was provided like through Freeform or something like that, but you know,
Yeah.
whatever the license is.
I'm looking at it now. 2017 documentary. Hour and a half.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay,
Was
I might check that out.
It was really entertaining. They had I guess the backseater is the pilot in the Apache. The front
and those
seater is
guys,
like
the
the
gunner.
weapons and comms person.
Yeah.
And they had a female lieutenant who was in that. And
Very cool.
yeah, it was really, and one of the 3 camera or films that they had was from their Apache. So that was pretty neat. That was pretty cool. Anyway,
Cool.
Eric, regale us with this week in U.S. military history.
Something true and dear to my heart as well as yours, I'm sure. This September 18th, 1947, a couple things occurred. It was the passage of the National Security Act, 1947. That legislation created what would later become to be known as the State Department, United States Department of Defense. State Department of Defense, which also established the United States Air Force as a separate branch of military service.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 18 September, the Air Force celebrated its 75th birthday. But I wanted to give you a couple things, a little timeline action. So started with humble beginnings. You know, balloons had long been used for observation of various kinds. U.S. Civil War began. Ballooning was adopted as a reconnaissance tool. So it started with balloons. In come the Wright brothers with Kitty Hawk. In 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright make the first mechanical, heavier-than-air flight using a gas-powered propeller aircraft. All right, so we move into the U.S. Army Signal Corps. Thaddeus Lowe was named chief of the Union Army Balloon Corps. The long march to a separate Air Force began. So you had Aeronautical Division Signal Corps, 1907. Aviation Section Signal Corps, July 1914. Division of Military Aeronautics, May of 1918. The Air Service, which was part of the U.S. Army, May of 1918. The U.S. Army Air Corps was established in July of 1926. And then the U.S. Army Air Forces were established in June of 41. So the next step was our friend General Billy Mitchell, who was passionate about air power being the next big thing versus Navy boats, right? So we move into World War II, and then Billy Mitchell's concept was correct. American air power was put to the test in World War II in the following ways. 1, as a method of intelligence gathering, as a way to deliver troops to the battlefield, and ultimately as a way to deliver atomic weaponry that would bring the war to its end with the surrender of Japan following the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Army Air Forces were said to operate almost independently from the rest of the U.S. Army at this time, which resulted in the creation of a separate branch of service that would be more than a symbolic move to more formally address the issue of American military air power. It recognized that combat in the air, from the air, and from surface to air required a whole separate type of planning and organization. So, September 18th, 1947, happy birthday, the United States Air Force.
Happy birthday, U.S. Air Force.
Happy birthday.
I thought it was interesting that one of the guys I interviewed in the first year, John Andy Anderson, he had joined the Army, and they had come around, I think it was in 48, and they were like, hey, who wants to join the Air Force? And it was like, well, it's got to be better than the Army. So, a bunch of them raised their hand.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah, that's it. I remember him saying that.
Yeah, there wasn't a test. There wasn't any kind of qualification. It amazes me that the military did so little paperwork and got so much done back then.
Yeah.
And now we can't do anything without paper.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, we've pretty much just transitioned to a space force, right? I know there's been a
Yeah,
lot
but
to
apart
do,
from
but
paperwork, but you're right though, Eric. They did
space
just pretty
force,
much go, who wants to be in the Space Force?
right?
Oh well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
All
true.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
So
So
quick creation.
I wonder if people in the army back then had the same view of the Air Force,
Oh yeah.
as people do of the Space Force right now. You know what I mean?
And they still do of the Air Force. I mean, you can't talk to another branch, Army or Marines, that don't go, "Oh, you're in the chair force." How often do you hear that?
But what I mean is,
Constant.
why do we have to have an Air Force, right? There were probably people saying that back then.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are people saying, why do we have to have a space force?
Yeah. Navy
That's the
was
same
probably
shit,
just like,
right? Hey,
we'll
we
just
got it
have
all.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just
Yeah. Army, they can just have planes.
Navy didn't
Yeah.
give a
They
shit
just-
because they're like, we got all ours contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
They're
have
on our
aviators,
ships.
we have Marines, we have, everything all contained in together. So
Yeah. Well, and then the
But-
Marine aircraft too, which is the ground support, the Harriers and stuff. And so why? Because one reason is because the fact that we couldn't freaking coordinate, ground to air or air to ground support of ground troops from multiple services. So each service wanted to be able to go, okay, I'm going to take care of my guys. Don't bring in your Army pilots or Air Force pilots to support my Marines. My Marines will take care of it with their own.
well, I think that was also part of that MEF and MOO concept, right? The Marine Expeditionary Force and the Marine Expeditionary Unit. So when they go somewhere, they can deploy a whole force that has ground, air, sea, everything self-contained, but they can't sustain it for very long.
Yeah.
Everything but their own medics.
Navy.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That is
I don't understand
That
it.
is
They
strange.
still go to a Navy corpsman, or they go to an Air Force pararescue man.
Yeah, the weird. Navy corpsmen roll around with them all the time. They don't have any of their own medics, which is, I don't understand that tradition or justification.
I don't either. But
we need a Navy rep.
All the Navy reps are surly. They're so surly. But 76th anniversary. So well done, Air Force.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. And I thought Billy Mitchell was a close second on our all military Air Force general, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was.
I fought for Billy Mitchell.
You did fight for Billy Mitchell, but
he was badass.
Hap Arnold won. So
only because he was the grandfather, man.
Yeah, I get it, but Billy Mitchell was Doolittle was up there too, but he never made. Or Doolittle did make general, right?
Yep. Yeah, he did.
So. Okay, let's get on the news. Let's talk, like I said, obliquely about Ukraine. But we all realize that apparently for 20 years of war in Afghanistan and Iraq, all we had to worry about was 5.56 ammunition, apparently, right?
That was it.
Because we weren't shooting a lot of anything. We weren't shooting javelins. We weren't shooting, dragons. We weren't shooting a lot of artillery.
Well, because it was all mount operations.
Right. It was counterterrorism stuff. Right?
Can't go blowing shit up.
House to house stuff.
Yeah.
So, what did they do? Did they just we're good with what we got? We don't need to restock it. We'll never fight another war except global war on terror ever again. So why build up our stockpiles, right? And then we're like, you're giving how much to Ukraine? Holy shit, we don't have that much.
We're drained.
They're swinging open the doors and they're like, see, there's not that much in here, man. Well, apparently artillery rounds is the big measure of how short we are on ammo. So Task and Purpose, this is the first story from Task and Purpose. The Pentagon plans to produce 100,000 artillery shells a month in 2025. Right? And this is what amazes me, is that they say they haven't been, apparently they haven't been producing much of anything right now because we don't have that much. And now all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need more artillery shells. And they're like, oh, shit.
Give away.
We shut that whole production line down. What are you talking about? Anyway, the article goes on to say the U.S. military already is ramping up production of 155 millimeter artillery rounds, but now the Pentagon's weapons acquisition chief is setting a higher goal for 2025. The military will make 100,000 155 millimeter rounds per month, or more than 1 million in total that year.
Wow.
Douglas Bush, the Army's Assistant Secretary for Acquisitions, Logistics, and Technology, said that the Army will be manufacturing between 80 and 85,000 155 millimeter rounds per month next year. But Bill LaPlante, the Pentagon's Undersecretary for Acquisition and Sustainment,
Uncle Bill.
Uncle
Bill stepping in.
Uncle Bill says he expects an even higher amount in 2025. Uncle Bill said we're going to be at a 100,000 per month in 2025. We're at 14,000 per month 6 or 8 months ago. We are now at 28,000 a month.
Ooh.
So they're going from 28,000 to 100,000 per month.
That's huge. You would think that'd be like 24/7 operations.
You would think we were at full on war.
Yeah.
Well, but what were they doing before that? You know, I mean, I don't understand. Were they producing nothing?
We weren't.
You know what though?
We weren't using that much.
I guess.
I think
yeah, right.
the
So they're just
Ukraine
ramping
war,
up production.
in my opinion, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I picture the Ukraine war just like you would in World War I, where you had no man's land with machine guns. So now you got the Ukraine defensive line, you got the Russians defensive line, and all they're doing is lobbing those artillery shells over at each other, creating that space.
You're right. And they did say they've gone into kind of trenches.
Yeah.
And so artillery is the big killer on trench warfare.
And since we, didn't do a whole lot of trench warfare, especially like we were talking about mountain operations, terrorist operations, there wasn't a huge requirement for those, I would think.
Probably not. There's probably more requirement for 105 shell or rounds because those are a little bit more responsive. But
I have a question. Is the 155 interchangeable with artillery pieces and tanks? Can they go either?
No.
So is it artillery pieces only? It's not a tank round then.
Tank rounds I think they're 120, but they're also it's different. There's a smooth bore. It's a whole different thing. Artillery rounds are separate loading, which means you put the artillery round and shell
into the breech,
and then you ram that home, and then the powder you put in separate into the breech, and then you close the breech, and so there's no canister to it.
Okay.
Right. So whereas a tank round, a 120 millimeter tank round, is all self-contained, so that when they bring it looks like an enormous bullet.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you could make an artillery round interchangeable. So thank you.
No. The closest thing you got is Private Ryan when they took the mortar shells and they were knocking them on the thing and they were throwing them, which is unrealistic, but that's okay. The Ukraine-Russia conventional war has shown just how quickly armies can burn through artillery ammunition, with both sides firing between 5,000 to 6,000 shells per day at certain points in the fight.
Dang, man.
That's a lot.
Oof.
That's a lot, and the problem with shooting that much a day is that you're either very inaccurate and like you don't have good forward observers with target location, or you're just not effective. I mean, there's no reason to shoot that much unless there's one target you're just trying to, you're trying to bring a building down.
Now, can you laser target with an artillery shell and have like a smart artillery round?
They have those. They used to be called Copperhead, but they've made, that was 20 years ago. So they've made improvements over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's precise munition stuff. This is just, I assume they're just talking about 155 millimeter high explosive artillery rounds.
Okay.
In fact, since February 2022, the United States has provided Ukraine with more than 2 million 155 millimeter rounds. We've given them 2 million. So if we're going to ramp up to 100,000 per month in 2025, that'll take us 2 years to make 2 million.
Wow.
And we're just like, there you go, Ukraine. We're not using them.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not concerned about China and Taiwan at all.
We're not using those. We're all about GWAT. We're all about war on terror right now. And somebody tapped him on the shoulder. He's like, hey, man, I think we're going to need those. So it's crazy, right?
Yeah, 2 million is amazing.
But this representative or whoever it was,
Uncle Bill,
he's denied that the U.S. military has burned through its own supplies. No. We've got our own. Those were just 2 million spares laying around. We've got
bonus.
We've got enough. Right.
Huh.
So, in an effort to make up for those lost stores, the U.S. military has ordered new production lines to turn out 155 millimeter shells. New production lines. That still blows me away.
It just says in order to replenish the lost shell. Like, why would we have to replenish them if they're just extra?
That's
we exactly have our own stores.
That's right. That's why I bolded that statement. It's like,
but we have to replenish them.
To replenish.
We've got
more, but we're good.
We
have enough.
I don't.
And then on the other
that.
hand, he's like, "Well, we're going to replenish the shit we don't have." It's like, wait, I thought you said, "Oh, we do have enough. We're good."
Yeah, I'm going to loan you some money, but I'm getting that back, right? I'm going to get this immediately. Like immediately, I'm getting it back, right?
It's great. It's such a lie, man.
You know what's funny too is I just wanted to know where they're made. Artillery shells are made at the Scranton Army Ammunition Plant in guess what state? Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. With all the shit that they're going through right now, I think it's just funny.
It's weird that we only go through one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's another place, the General Dynamics Ordnance and Tactical System Facility, which is in nearby Wilkes-Barre. It fills them at a government facility in Iowa.
I do remember, and this was under Bush Senior, right? I do remember a time when they couldn't get us enough, and it was some government thing or something like that, but we couldn't order more artillery shells. So a battery has 8 guns in it, and they were like, "Oh, we're just popping primers today." So once you put the shell in, you put the powder in, you close the breech, then you put this primer in. It's like a shotgun shell, sort of, right? You put that in, and then when you pull the cable, that's what fires that shell that ignites the powder that throws the shell. But we were at like end of year, and they didn't have any more artillery shells for us. So they're like, "Oh, we're doing one gun will fire 1 round, the other 7 guns will just pull primers." So you had 1 gun firing, and the other ones were just pulling the primers. Like, Jesus Christ. And that was under Bush Senior.
The Stingers were the same way. When we had Stingers in Korea, every year you'd get one live fire with the Army units out at Green Beach.
Yeah.
So Osan and Kusan both had 2 squadrons of Stinger guys. So one would be selected from Osan, and one would be picked from Kunsan to do an actual live fire. The rest of us were walking around with a freaking duddy, and you had to just go through the motions and put the battery in.
Was it like a blue trainer or something like that?
Yeah.
A rubber gun.
You right. wasn't quite that bad. But you would thought, I mean, you pull the antenna, you put in the BCU, screw it in, and that was your exercise.
But don't worry, you'll be proficient when war comes around.
Yeah. So one lucky guy a year gets to shoot it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One guy.
One guy.
So your whole career, you did it 1.5 times?
I never even got to shoot a live round.
Are you kidding? No way.
Come on.
No, I did the school at El Paso at Fort Bliss. Yeah. Where you guys, right? So it was all a video game there. You stood on a big stage in front of a big theater, and you'd actually track an aircraft with this Stinger on your shoulder.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I went to post every day with live rounds, but I never got to put one on my shoulder and pop a case.
You didn't do a desk pop?
No desk
pop. Do a desk pop, man.
Should have, but I didn't. So, Because for cops, for us Air Force cops, that shit was a special duty.
Right.
You'd get hammered if you screwed that up.
Right. Oh, that's good. What was that from? The Other Guys? Is that the Other Guys?
That's such a good movie.
Okay, so we're short on artillery, but don't worry, in a couple of years we'll be A-okay. Or we'll just keep sending more to Ukraine. Who knows?
So everything I saw about Ukraine was Ukraine's winning the war. We're killing Russia.
It should be over here shortly. Right?
Did you see it though? I mean, in every freaking news outlet.
I heard General Milley say this is not going to be over anytime soon. Okay,
but I'm just saying things that Fox News. I know Fox is the big red freaking news, but then you go to CBN and that 1945 news channel. It's called 1945. They always post how Ukraine is just kicking the snot out of Russia. So it's interesting to get that.
So what do they say? It should be just a couple months and Putin will be at the negotiating table?
Well, now everybody's concerned because he's moving those tactical nuclear devices into Belarus. So they feel like Poland's starting to be threatened and Putin is being threatened. So he's going to potentially use a tactical nuke.
Because Ukraine's doing so well.
And that would make sense though, right?
But I like the way
like a last resort.
Ukraine is doing so well.
They're not.
Here's the thing, like we're okay with this. Like we haven't approached him about a treaty or anything. We're okay with he's moving tactical nukes
to Belarus.
I mean, if Ukraine was doing so well, why are they going to all these other European countries and going, hey, send our Ukrainians back? There's video of them capturing Ukrainians on the street so they can go back and fight.
I haven't seen that.
I've seen it. It's nasty.
Right? I'm just saying.
So anyway, but hopefully it'll be over. And then all these artillery shells will just be ours. We
won't have to give them away.
So we're supposedly sending all this equipment to Ukraine, right? And I've had this question for a long time. It's like, we're sending all this aid. One, I don't know what Ukraine's doing with the money that we're sending them. It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing with it? They buying weapons from something else? Of course they're not. But the equipment we're sending over there too, and we've all hand receipted equipment, right?
Sure.
We've all been responsible. We've all had to turn in equipment to clear base.
Sure.
Right? Or to clear a post. Well, what's happening to all this stuff they're sending over to equip or sending over to Ukraine? Well, from Stars and Stripes, they report on a recent IG report that was just the results were made public on Monday. And the IG concluded that U.S. weapons heading to Ukraine are at risk of theft from lax security.
Ooh,
of course they are. Right? What? How could we expect anything different?
Right.
Here's what's funny. He says that like our stuff isn't at risk of theft, right? We've done 5 freaking stories of people stealing random crap like big
artillery and a tank and
off bases.
What an epiphany they found.
Right.
And yet I'm not saying we're at a higher standard of security than them. I don't know. But
shit happens.
The potential is high. Yeah. It doesn't take a huge report to figure this out.
Correct. Correct. So, according to the Defense Department Inspector General report released to the public on Monday, weapons and ammunition that U.S. soldiers are moving across Europe and transferring to Ukraine at a logistics site in Poland risk being lost or stolen because security measures aren't being observed consistently. Who would have thought? In one lapse, a batch of Bradley fighting vehicles with the machine guns inside was mistakenly left unguarded at the site. Whoopsie. Right?
Where is Fred?
He went down to get something to eat.
A smoke break.
Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the U.S. alone has given Kyiv more than $40 billion in security assistance. Some donated military equipment is initially sent from the U.S. to air and seaports in Europe. Other supplies come directly from U.S. military facilities on the continent. American service members transport all of it to depots on NATO's eastern flank, where it's transferred to Ukrainian trucks and trains. The IG investigation focused solely on military aid being handed over at major Polish logistics hub before it is moved by rail into Ukraine. The report warned that personnel are not consistently adhering to security controls, which exist partly to prevent arms, ammunition, and explosives from getting into the hands of criminals and terrorist groups. The evaluation was conducted between January and June of this year. Investigators traveled to Poland in March to observe 2 missions in which aid was brought to a railway yard and transferred onto Ukrainian trains. One of the transfers was said to involve 60 containers that arrived by German rail, along with 6 M109A6 howitzers and 6 M992 artillery ammunition carriers. Another one was 14 Bradleys, 12 howitzers, and 7 ammunition carriers. In both cases, investigators found that troops tasked with guarding the equipment were, quote, not completely prepared for their mission. Specifically, we observed several instances where the guard force did not have the required documentation, communications equipment, or force posture for the sensitive cargo they escorted. So here's some highlights. The non-commissioned officer in charge of the truck convoy was unaware that machine guns were being transported in the Bradleys. The non-commissioned officer told investigators that the team had not verified the cargo before departing from an installation in Mannheim, Germany. And
now, we are talking about U.S. security, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about handing it over to
right. They had no
Ukrainian security.
They had no pre-inventory before they left.
Wow.
So therefore, they could not account for the weapons by serial number.
Ooh.
Military guards who arrived with some of the Bradleys at the rail yard remained with the equipment overnight, but returned to their home station the following morning. See you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, day shift's problem.
Day shift, right. Yeah, fuck. We were on all night, baby. I don't know where.
Sign his hand receipt. Sign his hand receipt.
After 7 o'clock, I'm out.
So they left no armed guards to maintain surveillance and checks on these vehicles containing weapons. But never fear, because there were 2 Polish police officers in a van patrolling the site as part of the rail yard's normal security.
Important.
Good to go. You got 2
They
Polish
didn't even know.
right.
So that's the thing. If they would have known there were machine guns and stuff in there, would they have acted differently? They didn't even know what was in there.
Well, let's do it. Let's back it up, Jake. Let's back it up and go, hey, you got to sign for all this shit. What? So let's do an inventory. Let's go through serial numbers.
Oh, you've got machine guns in the frickin' Bradley.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
We're like, I know what's in there because I'm signed for it.
That's going to take all day.
Right.
Well, I did a desk pop on the frickin' Bradley, exactly. And I count.
Get this. In June, several boxes of ammunition were stolen from a train without the guard force's knowledge. Now, the Polish police were able to recover the ammunition later. But the fact that they were stolen, you just got bandits waiting. This is like the Old West. They're just waiting.
You know
for
what that
train.
Was like? That was, hey guys, they know it's missing. Just bring back the boxes. No one's gonna get in trouble.
Just
come on, man.
Just fill it with rocks.
Yeah.
We got a bag.
It was like swing shift. He's like, I thought it was like we could take some samples.
Oh, who signed for this? And that's why those guys left in the morning, because they're like, I'm not signed for this shit. Let's go. Because that's how you get any military guy to give a shit. Is like, you're signed for it. If this goes missing, that's coming out of your pay.
It's on you.
That guy then cares.
Yeah.
Right? But if he's not hand receipted, if he's not signed for it, he's like, dude.
Can you see what a freaking hand receipt looked like for a fucking 12 Bradleys, 500 M16 machine guns?
None of that.
Fred, you got that 500 machine guns in there?
God damn.
Run the inventory for me.
You think when we left Afghanistan, there was a guy who's like, I'm hand receipted for all this shit. He's like, nope, we're go. Get on the plane, baby. We're out of here.
You're gonna have to fill out missing information
That's
form on those
reporter
23
survey
A28s or A29s and the M530 helicopter.
And all the weightlifting equipment you left in the gym. All that weightlifting equipment.
You know what? You could get your audit. Your audit's not going to go well.
That's right.
We're about to sue
They're going to dock your pay.
Lever.
And we're like, Sergeant Smith, I show you with 15 humidifiers that you signed for that you left over in Afghanistan. I'm not sure. That's a lot of money.
That's a total of
$3,500. Have you ever known anybody that's gotten their pay docked because they lost military equipment like that?
Yeah.
Right. I remember
a lot,
like people getting threatened with that.
No, I've seen it, and it's not they take it all. They just take like, hey, you're $300 out of your paycheck for 5
for a year.
Years. Yeah. And you're like, God damn, that's a lot. So
that's poor judgment.
All that stuff we're sending over there, maybe it makes it. I don't know. But it can't be that difficult to. I mean, it's got to be difficult to steal from the military, right?
We're the biggest arms dealer in the world.
We are. I know.
Well, I think it's more that people have the same attitude you just said. Man, we can't walk in there and steal from them. They're probably soldiers and armed guards everywhere. We can't walk in there.
Yeah.
Right?
And then all of a sudden you walk in, you got two Poland police guys sitting in a van, and they're fucking having dinner. They're not watching shit.
Yeah. You show up at the bar, you're like, you'll never guess what I did today. Remember that? Oh, locked up comment the other day.
I just walked right in.
I like those two guys sitting in the van. They're like, hey. They're like, don't worry about it. It's just we're just.
He's got an ammo can.
I got paperwork, dude. I got paperwork.
Like, oh, okay, go ahead.
I got paperwork. We're good.
Get back to
drive it out.
If I could do a Polish accent, that would have been hilarious.
I got this. We're good.
I got this. We're good. Yeah. Side for.
Well,
or better yet, he says, it's not worth $500. I can take it, right?
Yeah.
It's all good. I can take it now.
Yeah.
Or like San Francisco. It's gonna be $9.99 or whatever.
Yeah, you're good if it's not $500.
But it's got to be difficult, right? It's got to be that you can't just take from the Americans.
You would think.
Well, actually, you can if you're a German drunk. So this story from Stars and Stripes, German with a penchant for stealing U.S. Army Humvees goes on a drunken joyride.
Hey now, let's go.
I like that. That sentence is so good.
I know.
He's got a penchant for doing like
penchant. Because he's done it he's done it 3 times.
I'm good at it now.
So a German man who police say has a history of going joyriding in U.S. military vehicles saw his latest escapade end when he was found on August 29th, drunk and unconscious after a 24-mile trip in a stolen Army Humvee.
That guy's my hero. I'm telling you.
Doing it drunk. And he's 21 years old. 21-year-old swiped the vehicle from Shipton Kaserne in Oberreichenbach sometime between 2:30 p.m. Monday, the 28th of August, and 6:45 a.m. Tuesday, the 29th of August. So somewhere in that,
time period?
12 hours, 10 hours. They couldn't figure it out, but he got it. He then drove nearly 24 miles north to Nuremberg while intoxicated and was found inside the Humvee early Tuesday, according to the statement.
Wow.
Army officials are coordinating with German police to investigate. The vehicle belongs to the 5th Battalion, 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. No vehicle damage was reported, and the Humvee was returned to Shipton Kaserne. The suspect does not have a driver's license, and he was cited twice in 2021 after taking Humvees from Shipton and Bismarck barracks, police said. On one of those occasions, he took the vehicle for a 50-mile joyride across 6 villages and towns. I love how they call it a joyride.
I think the Army is just plain tempting. Hey, man, let's throw a freaking Humvee out in the yard, see if this guy comes back. It's like fishing. We'll just throw it out there and we'll see if he takes it.
What's our response time? Like
until somebody does
they figure
inspection.
Out, changeover
until they do well, now we used to have part of the staff duty thing was a motor pool closeout, right? You had it daily and you had it weekly. So you had to go down, you had to make sure all the vehicles were there, you had to do a motor pool closeout. So if he stole it, he could have 6 to 8 hours before they did their closeout.
Never know.
They're like, hey,
you think it's the civilian cops that are catching him? It's like, man, it's all what's his name again?
I think it's the dummy Army guys who are like, is this vehicle in the garage? They're like, nope. It should be right
but
here.
He only goes like 25 miles. Does he just abandon it then?
Maybe he gets so drunk he can't
passed out this time. He's done. Or better yet, the chain on the steering wheel wouldn't let him turn any further.
That could be. That could be, right? Because you could start any Humvee. I think it's still that way. I don't think they ever made it for a key. All you got to do is warm the glow plugs up and then turn it over.
Turn it on.
Clearly, it's easy to start.
Well, they said as of Thursday, the man was hospitalized for a mental health evaluation. And German prosecutors will decide later whether to charge him. So they don't even know whether to charge him.
I'm telling you,
he's crazy.
The Humvee was nothing but bait for this guy. I'm telling you.
Oh, man,
he's done it 3 times.
He's a successful fish.
It's like
he's good.
Maybe he goes, hey, there's a Humvee. I know the soldiers are too dumb to know that I'm going to take it.
I like how it's a different. He gets drunk in different locations, and he's like,
Humvee! So you think he starts running towards it?
You think he just drinks by a base just in case he needs to get a ride home?
Could be. That's a good idea. Like he's just laid out under a tree. He's like, watch.
Well, he needs some liquid courage too.
I know they're going to go in and take a piss and get some rippets. When they go in, I'm going to take it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a great transition for this, so we'll just go into it. I was hoping to have a transition, a businessman transition, but I don't.
Good business.
Gentlemen, it's time once again for another round of Guess the Branch.
Woo!
Oh, okay.
Today, it's the businessman edition.
Ooh. Are we going to know these businessmen? By name?
You will
just
know
local dudes.
You will know.
You got 1 out of 5 chances.
You
the
will
owner
know
of Taco Bell. Okay, I don't know.
You will know the business. I put there's a lot of them, right? And there's a lot of businesses that I'm like, shit, I don't know those. So I put 13 of the most, maybe it's 12 of recognizable business names on here. All right.
Okay. I'm coming for you, Jake.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Here we go. Bill Bowerman. He was a Nike co-founder. He was he founded it with Phil Knight.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find anything on Phil Knight, so I left it to Bill Bowerman.
Bill Bowerman. All right, Jake, you want first? You want me?
Oh, I'll take first. I'll go Navy. Bill looks like a Navy man.
Oh.
I'm gonna disagree. He's a shoe guy. Means
he's gonna disagree because he's white.
He's a shoe guy. Shoe guys make boots, so I'm saying Army for Mr. Bowerman.
Oh, I like the creative.
Oh, okay.
The creative logic.
Hey,
Bill Bowerman was in the Army. Bowerman was ROTC at the University of Oregon.
Oh, cool.
Then he joined as a second lieutenant following the days, in the days following the Pearl Harbor attack. He was assigned to Fort Lawton. That's obviously long gone. In Washington, and served 3 years there before being assigned to the 86th Mountain Infantry Regiment at Camp Hale in Leadville, Colorado.
Wow, how about that? He's a local boy.
So Bill Bowerman was in the Army.
He said these freaking boots suck. I got to come out with a great tennis shoe.
Who was the Army guy, the Army celebrity that it was at Leadville?
Oh, the James Earl Jones.
I
wonder if they
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yep. Okay, who guessed that one?
I got that one right.
Oh, you got that, Army, with your roundabout logic. That worked. Fred Smith, co-founder of FedEx.
That's an Air Force guy standing in front of an airplane looking like a super duper pilot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So Air Force.
I'm going, I'll say Navy also again. Navy.
All right. Fred Smith was in the Marines.
Oh, close. Half point.
He graduated from Yale.
Get that right at all.
Dang.
Smith was commissioned in the U.S. Marine Corps, serving 3 years from 66 to 69. He served 2 tours of duty in the Vietnam War, where he received 2 Purple Hearts, a Silver Star, and the Bronze Star.
Damn, man.
That's quite a badass.
And he created FedEx?
He was either the founder or co-founder of FedEx.
Son of a bitch.
All right.
Yeah,
that's cool. Pretty impressive.
All right, next up, Bob Parsons, GoDaddy. You know GoDaddy.com? Okay.
I do.
They used to have the greatest commercials until they kind of
they had
great commercials, right?
This one's on you, Jake.
Yeah, it looks like an Army man right there.
Because he's got that silly fucking grin like he's been eating crayons. I'm gonna say he's a Marine.
And he's got the neck of a bulldog.
Yeah, he's a Marine.
Bob Parsons, founder of GoDaddy, was in the Marines. Very good, Eric. Parsons enlisted in the U.S. Marines after flunking high school. He served in the Vietnam War as a rifleman, where he was wounded in action. This would earn him the Purple Heart, among other honors.
Wow. And created a
damn, Eric, you're up 2-0.
Yeah,
smoking
2-0.
Wow. All right, next up, Sam Walton, Walmart co-founder.
So Walmart, logistical, supply guy, Army guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Army.
Fair enough.
I'll go with that. He looks Army.
Okay. Sam Walton was in the Army.
Yeah.
During World War
part of the
II,
Intelligence Corps.
Oh, wow.
Sam Walton enlists and serves for 3 years in the Army Intelligence Corps.
So he wasn't logistic. I commanded the supply unit. It freaking
that was
that'd be cool.
Sound logic, Eric. That was actually sound logic. All right. How about his brother, Bud Walton? Bud Walton, Walmart co-founder with his brother Sam. Did he follow in his brother's footsteps?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Army. No.
I'm going to say he's Navy because he didn't want to be like his brother. He said, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I say Navy.
Yeah.
What do you
go Navy too?
No, I stick with my original.
Army.
Both are Army men.
Bud Walton was in the Navy. Eric is on a roll.
And he's not a black guy. He's not a black guy.
Bud Walton. Jesus. Well, you might as well
your
go
logic,
with it.
Your logic is
100%
right.
Well go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, your logic on Bud was a good one. I was like,
he served as a Navy pilot during World War II on the aircraft carrier USS Manila Bay in the South Pacific.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny when we talk about these guys, notice how they've all been pretty much into shit. When we talked about the celebrities.
Yeah.
They were, they
were like a clerk. Or
they may have touched the fridge, but these guys were in it.
Yeah, maybe that. I wonder if there's a correlation there, right?
That's because I think because this is a different whole generation.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, there were some older guys. No. Well, Jimmy, there was multiple things where they were pilots and that kind of thing.
A lot of those guys were Depression era guys coming out, going into World War II, right?
Yeah.
So is that 4 to?
No, it's 3 because we both got
Three,
the one.
3-0.
3.
No, you got 1, Jake. You said the same way.
Well, it would be
I
3 to
yeah.
1 then. But
3 to 1.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Paul A. Sperry. I could not find a picture of this guy. Paul A. Sperry. He invented Sperry shoes, Sperry topsiders. Remember Sperry topsiders?
That might be a hint. That's why I'm going Navy.
Yeah, that one's a dead giveaway, right?
Yeah.
Paul A. Sperry was in the Navy. In 1917, he joined the Navy Reserves, and he got the inspiration for people slipping on the deck. So he did something with the soles, which I've slipped my ass off in Sperry topsiders. So I don't know what he did with those things.
Damn, I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah, I guess he sold he founded Sperry shoes in 1935 and then sold a ton to the Navy.
Wow.
So well done. Okay, that one's a wash. I don't even want to count that one, right?
3-1.
Bob Ross, the joy of painting. That was his whole gig, right?
Yeah. I think I know this one. I think he was a Marine. Look at that hair and beard. Tell me he wasn't a Marine.
He's fighting against it, huh?
He's rebelling.
Oh man, that's a good guess. I'll go Air Force. I'll be ridiculous.
Oh, and Bob Ross was in the Air Force.
Oh, no way.
He enlisted in the Air Force in 1961 at age 18. Spent 20 years. He got to Master Sergeant.
Damn, look at the picture. It does not even look like the same guy.
And he was the first sergeant at Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska.
Wow.
Well done with those tiny little trees. Well done. Oh, that's what, 4-2, 4-3?
No, 3-2.
3-2. Jack Taylor, Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
This one's on you, Jake.
What era is that? That's probably
70.
Vietnam.
Look at those cars. That's got to be 67.
Yeah, so he's got to be before. He's a Navy man. End of World War II Navy man.
Wanted to keep his feet on dry land, man. I think he's Army.
Jack Taylor, founder of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, was in the Navy.
Hey,
look at that. Nice little run, Jake.
Oh, and the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Nice.
Called it.
And he was quite the badass. So he dropped out of business school in 1940 to join the Navy as a naval aviator. He served in World War II, stationed aboard the USS Essex and Enterprise, flying F-4F Hellcat fighters.
That's pretty cool.
He earned 2 Distinguished Service Crosses and an Air Medal, man. That's badass.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Wow.
That guy was going to do something great. Right?
In the shit. Yep.
Yeah, that Air Medal is a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
And this is
and a
Distinguished Service Crosses.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What? That's the highest Navy, right? Other than the Medal of Honor.
I think so. I think Distinguished Service.
Or it was the Navy Cross. Navy Cross.
Oh, is that higher?
Distinguished? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's tied up now.
Yep.
Wow.
Treat.
Gordon Logan, Sport Clips. He founded Sport Clips.
Really?
Right?
He's a hair guy.
Hair guy.
Man.
That screams Marine.
Does that give you some kind of insight? He's a hair guy.
You know what? I'm going to say this is an Air Force guy.
No? Okay.
I'm going Army.
Gordon Logan, founder of Sport Clips, was in the Air Force.
Oh.
Between 1969 and 1976, he was an Air Force aircraft commander, flying C-130 cargo planes over South Vietnam, and later relocating South Vietnamese refugees.
You know, it's really, really cool. I'm telling you, we'll re-emphasize this point that these guys actually did something when they were in the military. They were part of something. That's really cool.
So you forge into the lead by 1-4-3. Chuck Wallace, Esurance. Remember Esurance? I think Allstate bought them. But remember Esurance? I remember Esurance.
I bet he made a shit ton of money on the sale of that thing.
He made a lot of money.
Jake, this one's on you.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chuck's age and trying to figure out what era.
He's a clean cut looking dude, isn't he?
He is.
I think he's a Marine. Vietnam era Marine.
He's too clean cut, man.
Oh, he's an O.
I don't see
That's
it
for sure.
Yeah, I don't see any dirt on his face or anything. So I'm gonna go Air Force again, man. He looks like a pilot.
Okay.
Chuck Wallace for Esurance was in the Air Force.
Oh.
He's an Air Force Academy graduate and a C-130 instructor pilot at Reese Air Force Base.
And he fits that bill to a T. I'm telling you.
And a lot of you're going to see a lot of these that I have no pictures of them in the military. I could not find a lot of pictures on these guys, so that's why I put the Air Force Academy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow, is that 4-3?
5-3. I'm up 2.
Whoa.
Up 2.
Just bounced up again.
Dave Liniger, Remax creator, Remax founder.
He's got a place here in Colorado.
Out of Colorado, yeah. Remax is out of Colorado.
Oh, is he the one that lives over by Salida? Back there?
He lives by like kind of Lone Tree area, right in between.
You mean he
Castle Rock? Oh yeah, he owns all of Lone Tree. He actually opens up. He's got a private golf course, and every year, it's beautiful. Every year, he opens it up to any, and he does it in a specific day. Today is Army Day, and he throws a
Which course is that?
Sanctuary.
It's his course.
It's the Sanctuary.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's Sanctuary.
It's the Sanctuary.
Every year they do that. They open.
You know why he did the course?
They open it up to Air Force. They open it up to different branches every single year.
He asked the local course that operates right by his house for a membership, and they said no. So he said, "Screw it, I'll make my own," and made his own course. I want to make sure it is the Sanctuary, though.
You understand? I am a billionaire, right?
Right?
Yeah. I don't understand why people do that.
Oh my god!
But either way, I got to go play golf there one year.
Didn't we do that together?
Yeah.
I thought we did. Of course, Cherry was with us, and it seems like it. Anyway, that's a fantastic course. That's so.
And that is correct. So it's the Sanctuary.
You played it, Eric? You played?
No, I have not.
Oh,
it's the Sanctuary in Castle Pines.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Dave and Gail Linger own the exclusive sanctuary, and they carefully preserve the finely balanced ecosystem by restricting the traffic to a mere 9,000 rounds per year.
That's nice when you can hey, I built this golf course, but I don't want a whole lot of people.
Yeah, that's cool. He's a big fella, so I don't think he did any humping with the Marines. I'm going to say he's Army. He's an Army guy.
Army. Navy. If you're going off that, modern day Navy hires them by the pound. And they need ballast. If you're saying he's a big guy.
Dave Liniger, founder of Remax, was in the Air Force.
Ooh, struck out there, didn't we?
He served in the United States Air Force for 5 years, from 65 to 71, serving in Vietnam, Thailand, Texas, and Arizona. He ended his career at ROTC Detachment at Arizona State University.
That was a tough job to finish your career with.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to underestimate you.
No points awarded. Blake Hall, ID Me. Now, I didn't know. I never knew of Blake Hall, but I've used ID Me
I've used ID Me.
Yeah.
ID Me. I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, if you
probably
do anything on
use it
government, it's ID Me. It's the easiest. That's great. It's a sign-in thing. It's a software sign-in thing.
Okay. Jake, your call.
Army.
Army, huh?
He doesn't look Army though.
No, he doesn't.
As soon as I said it, I was like, he doesn't look Army.
He doesn't look Army. because of the whole just the bland thing, I'm going to say he was a Marine.
Blake Hall, founder of ID.me, was in the Army.
Oh.
Hall served in Iraq
Nice.
as an Army rifle platoon leader, reconnaissance officer, and logistics officer, among other things. He left the Army in 2008 with 2 Bronze Stars.
Wow.
Look at his face, man. It looks like a woman.
He looks like Michael
Golly,
Jackson after a bunch of surgery.
Can't trash on poor Blake here. We're calling Dave from Remax fat.
All right, I'm sorry.
Look at Blake's plastic face.
We're calling that guy, that billionaire, this multimillionaire.
The guy looked like he could be transitioning, man, from woman in the Army.
Oh, Eric.
Just get done saying, all these guys have done stuff. They're badasses.
I'll put
He's got 2 Bronze Stars.
That's true.
2 Bronze Stars.
I can't.
Look at this effeminate looking SOB.
All right, hold up, Blake. I apologize. Well done for being in the Army. Good job.
That's cool. Eric Perrott. You can find him on OnlyFans.
Mr. History does it all.
Mr. Papa Bear.
Oh my God. Are we tied or are you still up by 1?
I have no clue.
I'm pretty sure I'm up by 1.
I think Eric's up by 1 or 2.
This one you should know or you might know. I'm not sure. So I threw it in there at the end. Evan Hafer, Black Rifle Coffee. It's the last one.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Right, last one.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like he was some kind of sniper unit kind of guy. Black Rifle Coffee.
Black Rifle, right? Black Rifle.
Right?
Army.
Army. I'm going to say Army too.
No. Oh, man. You couldn't have gone. You know Special Forces.
He was in the Army.
You don't create something called Black Rifle Coffee.
But he was a hell of an Army man.
I think the other founder is a SEAL.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
I think
so. Both of them are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black Rifle.
Very familiar with black rifles.
Prior to founding Black Rifle Coffee Company in 2014, Heffer served in the U.S. Army for 20 years, 15 in Special Forces, where he was a Green Beret with 19 Special Forces Group. I think that was my brother's.
I'm going to pull an Eric here and be like, I bet he can't even connect that mustache. Look at that guy. Got the softest hands in the business, just steaming him all day around that.
That's what we do here on Service Headline News. We trash out the millionaires and billionaires.
How many times have we brought these guys up though in conversation with like supporting veterans and then supporting the translators and
all
doing
the good stuff they do.
All that good stuff. We've brought up him and his company multiple times, and now we're like, look at this guy.
And then Eric dogs him out by race and by other characteristics.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'm telling you, old Blake, the last guy, could have potentially been a woman. I'm sorry. He could have been.
He used a lot of moisturizer.
He had a lot of sunscreen on or something.
A lot of product.
Yeah, and he took that and made $1 billion and said, thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. He said, I don't really give a shit what you think.
Eric, I think you won that, right? By 1.
I did. I think I won by 1.
You did.
Nice.
Very cool.
So that was cool. There's a lot of businessmen, there's a lot of businesswomen, but there's some businesses I never heard of. So that was
that was fun.
Yeah. All that note, I think we're rounds complete. End the mission and end it.
Woo, in the mission.
On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, and subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to see, please, because we're running out of ideas. And as always, make sure to download the next episode for more Service Headline News. Man, thanks for the week, and I'll see you next week.
Gentlemen, had a great time. Talk to you later.
Yep, it's always a good time. And Eric, I'm a little disappointed that I actually went to your house the other day because now I feel guilty after meeting your wife. I feel guilty for making fun of you because she's such a wonderful lady. And I'm like, I just trash on her husband on a weekly basis.
She don't mind. Trust me. It's all good.
It's all good.
She had a good time, man. She enjoyed everybody's company.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun.
Good stuff.
I think all the teenagers hated me, but I would
they looked like it. Like,
that was their game face.
Jesus Christ.
That was their game face.
Like, who is this guy?
That's their normal face.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.